has gone through this pretty accurately, so I won't repeat it. But I found the Boreraig itself to be as fascinating today as ever it was. And I feel it's got a prophetic future. Moving west was a very big thing to the Celts. And they got a sense of adventure and eventually a sense of mission. And this is a very important thing to the Celts. And when they reached the long island of Skye, they moved to the west, following the sun as usual. And there they came up against opposition and frustration. Frustration is the word. And Skye Gaelic took on a style of its own, definitive, aggressive, and almost angry. Eventually, in oratory, they got what's called riastag. That means contortion. The orator, his face and frame would become distorted in a frenzy of irresistible fury. My father used to think it was a result of sun worship. It may have been. It made a very, very big impression. And it was practiced at Nice, in the vicinity of Nice precipices, near Nice Lighthouse. And not far from there, at Boreraig, you found that the pipe chanter got very loud, which may have been due to the frustration too. And there, you got the acme of music, well, perfection really, just as you got the oratory, a perfection of oratory. They called it Yolach Bor, that means the great cry of life. That was the way Boreraig expressed it. Riastag for oratory, Yolach Mor for the piping. Both these things should happen so close together is to some might be confusing. But from genetics, the same gene which does the human voice also does organcy and music. So that explains why these two acmes, oratory and music, should be so close together. Now at Boreraig, it's a promontory with precipices, the principal one of which is Nahaw. And near its summit there was a rock ledge, a rock shelf rather. And the McCrimmons, according to my father, got very great inspiration from playing there. Why it should be, it's a bit prosaic, but being born is the most important thing in one's life. And dreams of falling from a height or a precipice, they relive this birth experience, give them this rebirth feelings. And that may be what Nahaw precipice did to the McCrimmons. Looking down from the summit, Nahaw, you see the sea, which in the unconscious represents the unconscious. And it looks so dark. And that's why in BSB, the shul, that's the variations, are made in black. Shul is the Gaelic for searching. Shul, searching the dark sea for the mystery of the great Ceol Mór. And at the end of the day, Skye's glorious sunset used to paint the western heavens red, inducing a sense of wonder. So in BSB, the T and C are made red to recapture this nernachas, this sense of wonder which opens up the whole artistic world. Shula, searching, Johannes, wonder. I have written, Boreraig developed from the tension due to interclan tension, due to the clans not being able to move further west again. This tension could be very great. For example, the massacre of Egg, where the entire population from Egg and Mac were massacred. Then you had the massacre of Glencoe. And at the time of these massacres, the Hebrew was at its height in composition. To indicate there must be some relationship. So, you had the kuva, the lament, which artistically brought the clans together again by using music poignancy. Robert Wallace thinks it asked the question recently in the Piping Times, does Hebrew have the same emotion as it had in times past? I would say that now there's no longer any inter-clan tension. This original emotion is largely gone. But its power, Hebrew, I call kuvach, as opposed to the kuvach, which is lament. Kuvach would also bring back emotion by making Hebrew practical again, just as Kuva was originally. I'll give you an example of a power Hebrew. I was thinking of old Jock and Macpherson playing the glasphere, the finger log. Before battle, the clansmen used to put their hands up like that and intertwine the fingers before they went off to battle. Then it goes, Tio, bro, bro, Tio, bro, bro, Tiam, hampa, he, hatata, Tio, bro, bro, Ti, hatata, Ti, ham, pam, he, ham, pam, pam. Yeah, Boreraig rock shelf, Nahor precipice, playing at night, lit up by searchlights from the sea, would be inspiration. I have two photostats here, one by Nicol Martin, who in 1976 owned Boreraig. It shows this rock shelf. And another one from the then Highlands and Islands Development Board, indicating that they would possibly be willing to restore the subsided pathway leading to this rock shelf. I hesitated because I could see if this pathway was restored, the rock shelf could become a nidus for suicides. But I did not lose my vision nor sense of mission. And the primordial Pibroch will entertain sun worship, exercised during the long journey from the east. Wait but a little while, and the days of your suffering will be over. Behind the clouds, the sun of your great Kura is already rising, and soon it shall show itself. That's it. formula in different colours. It helps the memory, very much so. Very much. Colours is such a big thing. If you have an eye operation for cataract, the first thing you find afterwards is the sense of colour so overwhelming. It's a very big thing, which is not appreciated.
Yeah. Absolutely.
A genius really regarding timing, and he really was extraordinary. And his memory was fantastic, but so was his mother's and his father's. If they made the slightest mistake, both his mother and father, no, Malcolm was the same. But he wasn't really in songs. He wasn't any good at that. It was just purely at the people. Very sort of selective memory, selective thing. As I'd say, it's a genetic thing. This. The massacre of Glencoe.
Do not lift them from the bracken. Fake na hinach, fataguti, even lying where he fell. Better beer ye cannot fashion, none beseems him half so well as the bare and broken heather and the hard and trampled soil, whence his angry soul ascended to the judgment seat of God. Winding sheep we cannot give him. Na sheer earthig oogte from the merre, seek the mantle for the dead, save the cold and spotless covering shower from heaven upon his head. That's
Older, that I just divide people into two: the kuva, the lament, and the kuvach, the strength. Just leave it as that. Forget about gathering battles and all that, and salutes. These are the two.
Roddy, could you actually talk us through the physical doings, you know, what you had to do to put the book together? Did you write it all out by hand?
Yes, he was a science craftsman. He had never written music before, and yet he did it extraordinary. He did you would never think it actually been hand done, but it does show. I think the hand effect comes through.
But did you give him a rough copy that you had drafted out firstly for him?
That's right, yes. Yes.
And how did you work that out with Malcolm then? Did you have to keep...
No, I just took it. He played in the pipes or the chanter, and I wrote it down. 3 lines just to make it easier to remember. As I say, it's as simple as this. The less thing on a page, the easier to remember that page. It's as simple as that.